Hey, good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday Night Live. So excited to have everybody on here tonight. Got a bunch of people logging on. So as always, we're going to give everybody a moment to get logged on, get settled in. As you can see, I'm settled in here right outside, right inside the lake house. There's the lake. There's the dock. There's the boat. Well, actually, the boat's not there because my middle son wrecked it. Literally, him and his buddies took it out. And next thing I see last night is we're grilling right outside, them being pulled in. So no boating tonight. So, but it's still an amazing place to be hanging tonight. Matter of fact, as we go further on tonight, I actually may move inside for better lighting, but I just wanted to spend a little time out here. Again, so glad you guys are logging on. I'm going to give everybody a minute or so, a couple minutes to get logged on. Very excited about what we're going to be covering with you all tonight, because tonight, you know, it's the best of both worlds. It's, you know, our top topics, vote getters, are when we do either something really instructional or really inspirational. And today you guys are going to get both. I mean, we don't a lot of times do that together, but today you guys, I promise you, across the board, everybody on the call today will learn something that you don't know. We'll see a kind of a twist on the business that you weren't sure is even possible. And I can't imagine you all not being inspired by the end of the call tonight. So really cool stuff. Tell me where you're calling in from. What's up, Shane? Happy Tuesday to everybody right back. And hello. We've got people from Chicago, Illinois, Atlanta, Delaware, California. California is a special place for us tonight because that's where our partner resides. So good. Delaware, Portland, Buffalo, Cumming, Georgia, Orlando, Florida, Saylorsburg. Awesome. I think I was telling you all a session or two ago that one of my kind of personal goals, kind of goofy goal, but still a goal, is one of these nights to have like all 50 states represented. I know we've gotten close quite a bit of time. What's going on? Cleveland, Ohio in the house, Alabama, Louisiana. Awesome. So glad to have you guys. New York. So glad that you guys are finally opening up that state and that city. That's a city that literally never sleeps. So it does not, none of us want to see it sleeping. So that's very cool. I hope you all are in a cool place tonight. Again, tonight, definitely have something to write with, take notes, but at the same time, sit back, invite the family over. If you got any young kids or somebody in and out of college or just getting their first kind of look at things in life, or maybe struggling a little bit with whatever they're doing, this is the night to have them by the fire chat, right? This is the time to listen in because you will be inspired tonight. I'm telling you, this is like a true American success story that we're going to discuss with you all tonight. So very excited to have you. Kentucky, Arizona. Now, how can one person be in two states, like literally across the country, from Kentucky and Arizona? I'm curious about that. Somebody else from New York. Cool. Glad you guys are here. For those of you that are just logging on and joining us, so glad to have you. We'll get started here in just a couple minutes, but I will tell you, as I'm sitting here outside of our lake house, I'm starting to see it's getting a little bit dim out there. So let me see if I can, maybe instead of moving during the time we're doing it, while we're getting warmed up, maybe I'll transfer myself into here so that much better lighting here. All right, killer, as I like to call it. It's like better lighting here, better attention to detail, and like better weather. It's getting muggy Muggy out there. Glad you all are here. Let me get settled in. Really, really cool, exciting stuff here today. Hey, Michelle, how are you? All right, guys. Well, let's get rolling. And one of the things I like to do before we kind of officially get started, and again, guys, for those of you that are listening in tonight, this is what partner-driven model is all about. But beyond that, tonight you're going to experience what friendship's all about, what struggle's all about, what ups and downs are all about. You guys are going to learn what it means to like literally things that go so well that you like start screwing things up. You know, for a lot of people, that's like, well, that's a great problem to have, but you'll see how that's actually possible because my partner and I did that. So you guys are gonna learn a lot. You're gonna be inspired a lot. So glad you guys are here. But before we get rolling with all that, I'd just like to address you all that are listening here tonight. And from the same perspective I always do, there's really two types of people that listen to us on these Tuesday night webinars. And for those of you that have never listened to one of these, or maybe you're listening to us in a recorded format and this is your first exposure to us, I will tell you, this is the one thing that we here at Partner Driven have been committed to for a very, very long time. And it's the one thing we haven't changed. And the reason for that is we've learned over that period of time is that these Tuesday night webinars are responsible for more people coming into our family, for more people joining our organization, for more people becoming one of our partners than almost anything else we do. So we are like totally committed to these Tuesday night sessions. But also at the exact same time and period, we also learned there's two types of people here tonight. And you know which category you fall into once I explain it to you. Some of you all are partners already. I mean, you are part of the family. You've done deals with us. Maybe you're in a process of doing a deal with us. Maybe you're just getting started, haven't done a deal with us yet, but you're in. Again, you're part of the family. We're so glad you guys are here. And you're here. I know exactly why you're here. You're here for the exact same reason that when I started 20 some years ago and, you know, totally screwed everything up that I possibly could have, and then slowly started to recover in my real estate journey, I started meeting people around me. I guess you can call them became my mentors. And the reason you are here tonight is because probably just like I was back then, anytime I can get around those guys, those investors, those people that I looked up to, anytime I knew they were somewhere speaking, educating, doing breakfast, having coffees, I was there. I was just like, hey, man, let me just be a fly on the wall, because I learned back then that if ultimately I buy into like somebody or something, and I feel like, okay, that's the path I'm on, I'm like all in. I gotta be around that person as much as possible. So for those of you that are already part of our partnering program or part of our organization, so glad you guys are here. This is another way for us to say high five. Obviously, as a partner, you're getting tons more access to us than just once a week. But I tell you the same thing every Tuesday. So for some of you, I could probably not say it and you would say it for me, right? You're here to reset, recharge, recommit. Let's go to the next level and let's crank it out. The other group of people that are listening to us tonight, you're not part of our organization in any sense or form. You've heard of us. You may have seen us. You may have actually even heard about the guy we're going to bring on here tonight, who's a superstar within our organization. And this is like your way to check us out, as I call it. Okay, we do this only once a week. And this is your way to feel comfortable with the model, the people like us. Like, are we somebody you want to be in business with? Are we even for real? Have we even closed? You'll be shocked, even like to this day, 22 years in a business, you know, thousands of real estate transactions. And to this day, consistently, one of the questions I get is, have you actually ever closed a deal? I mean, it's like, and I'm like, yeah, I actually have. And this is one way for you to get comfortable with us, that we actually have done deals, continue to do deals, looking for more deals. But you're here really, I think, for only one basic, question and answer, and is, are you ready to become a partner? And our mission today for that group of people is very simple. We do want you to become a partner. We do want you to be part of the organization. We do want you to be part of the family. as we call it here. And we're going to do everything we can tonight to kind of lay it out for you from a perspective of we're the real deal. We are who we say we are. We have some incredible highs. We have some incredible lows. We're real people. We're real investors. But beyond anything else, we do have a model that works, okay? The partner-driven model is very simple. We are a real estate investment company. I've been at it for well over 20 years, thousands of transactions. And a little while back, we just made a corporate decision that the way to grow, the way to expand is through other partners, through other people. And so now in our partner-driven model, when you become a partner of ours, you immediately get a number of benefits. You know, you get coached and mentored by our organization pretty much on a daily basis, if that's what you feel you need. We invest into technology. So you get the latest and the greatest technology from us, you know, Deal Driven, which is the app that all of our partners use at this point. We feel it's like a must have. So for those of you that become partners, you immediately get access to the latest technology available to you in real estate. And by the way, I tell people this: if you don't use technology as an investor today, you are going to lose. I mean, it's just simple as that. And real estate is not a business that you want to lose in, because those losses are not just like, well, got my feelings hurt. Losses in real estate are like, I lost all my money, I lost my credit, I lost my credibility and all that. So we give you the access to the latest and the greatest technology. We help in lead generation. We skip trace for you. We provide money on deals that need money. We don't ask you to not only put your own money into deals, we don't even ask you go on the hook credit-wise. That's all on me. And that means one very important thing. Not only do I provide all the money, but I take all the risk, because guess what? In real estate, there is risk. And there's deals where to this day, I mean, there's deals where I lost tens and tens and there's deals I've lost 6 figures plus on. So as a partner, not only do you get all the upside, we 100% eliminate the downside, because you don't have to ever divvy up. If we're winning, you're collecting half. If we're losing, I'm absorbing 100% of the loss. As a partner, you also get access to our construction. So that means we help you with the construction of the properties. And then we just put them in the market, sell them, split the profits down the middle, 50-50. That's our partner-driven model. So for those of you that are like ready to move forward in that, take the next step, take the next leap, super duper, all you need to do is sometime either during this hour or when you're done or when you listen to this, just simply go to www.partnerdriven.com. That's www.partnerdriven.com. There you'll find everything you need to know about being one of our partners. And put your information in there. A team member will touch base with you, and literally before you know it, we could be on our way and partnering and doing deals right in your marketplace. All right, so that's out with the basics. So now let's go ahead and let's talk about what it is we're here to talk about. Okay, I mean, we again, this is one of those unusual nights that we combine the best of all the worlds. Meaning tonight, we're going to teach you some stuff. We're going to educate you. We're going to show you some things that you're like, well, I never knew that you could do that in this business. But at the same time, tonight is a great inspirational night. You know, we have one of our amazing partners on tonight. You know, what can I say? I mean, I could sit here and spend probably the next 40 minutes introducing him, and then it'll be like, okay, so we're done. But I do want to take a couple minutes and introduce Seth. First of all, Seth, why don't you pop yourself onto the screen? Hopefully I didn't lull Seth to sleep in the middle of all this. There he is, Seth Choate. How are you, buddy?
Doing well. How are you, Peter?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So again, guys, I could literally spend the next 30 to 40 minutes talking to you guys about Seth. But I'll let the next, 20, 30 minutes be part of that. But I will tell you this, I met Seth a couple years back. And sometimes, and one of the things we do on these Tuesday night webinars, we get really real. Like we lay it all out. We don't hold anything back. And, after doing this for as many years as I've done this business, I can tell you, I've met all kinds of people. I've met people uber successful before they met me. I've met people not very successful. I've met people done hundreds of deals. I've met people that have done zero amount of deals and all this. And I will tell you, when I met Seth, now I could tell you a couple of years down the road and hundreds of deals behind us, but like Seth's was not one of those guys that when you walk through our office that you're like, okay, I've done 500 deals. I got, $1 million in my checking account. I got, 6 places I live around the world. And let's just go on and go to the next level. The thing that I loved about Seth is he literally, like me, and that's what I appreciate about Seth, he started at ground zero. And I can tell you our journey has been nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, I think this is what the journey that Seth and I have had in the last couple of years probably exemplifies anyone who's ultimately achieved a measure of success. It's filled with pitfalls. It's filled with disappointments. It's filled with, oh crap, I wish we would have known. It's filled with like even total, like, I wonder if this thing's even going to work. All the way down to the other side of the equation where it's filled with tons of successes, great friendships, great stories, great highs, and all this. So anyway, I've now taken up about half of our time just talking about you. But Seth, first of all, I totally appreciate you being here tonight. I know you're a busy dude. I know you're 3 hours behind, so you probably still had some things to do today, still maybe doing some things. I appreciate you taking time. Seth, you're a guy that I talk about so much, but a lot of people just, have never heard it from your lips. So bring us up to date from a perspective of how did you, like, before you met us, who was Seth and what was Seth all about?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. Really, when they asked me to be on, absolutely, anytime you guys want me to be on, I love the opportunity. I love spending time with you guys. It's just a way that I can give back because you guys have given me an excellent opportunity. Before we got started, I was just a realtor. And prior to that, I was actually going to go be a teacher, but I was running a dead end sales job at selling yellow page ads. And if anybody knows the yellow pages, they're gone now, extinct. And I was selling those things and doing quite well with it, which was crazy. And I was going to have to take a pay cut to leave that job to go be a teacher. And it just, to go to school for 6 years, to leave to take a pay cut from a dead end job didn't make sense. So one night I just decided to take my classes, got my real estate license and went into that. And it was it was a massive move, and it was a great idea. But then I got into that and I had some success, but really was kind of capped and probably making about $85,000 a year, but nothing that was crazy. And my wife and I were at the time engaged, but about to get married. And then through a mentoring group, there was this guy, Peter, and I saw this guy at a conference, and it was intimidating because, you hear about people that have all this success, and I was just real young. I really didn't have, I think we'd saved $15,000 maybe at most for our wedding, and that was all I had to my name. So this was 5 years ago, I'd say, something like that. But there was something that drew me to him, and I had to meet Peter. But that weekend I didn't get the guts to talk to him. And then from there, I went and listened to a podcast the next week, and here's Peter on a podcast. And I'm like, okay, that's really crazy. Then I flip over to another real estate podcast that I listen to all the time, and there he is again. And I'm like, this is a sign. I have to take action. So I found his number. I cold called him. Made myself sound way more important than I really was because I wasn't really doing anything. And within 3 days, I was on an airplane from California to Atlanta to talk to Peter, and kind of made up a bullshit story, excuse my language, about how good I was just because I wanted to be around this guy, because I knew there was a level. If I was around him, he would bring me up. There's something about being around people that are successful. They elevate you to a different level. And so I had to figure out a way to get in his circle. And there we kind of created a partnership, and he didn't know much about me. And it was like, hey dude, I'm going to give you a shot, but it's a sink or swim thing. And we had some some tough times in the beginning, but we hit a couple deals, and then we'd sink a little bit and then hit a deal. And it was really rocky in the beginning. And he wasn't sure can this guy do it? And I wasn't fully committed. And then I think one day you just told me, I don't even remember what it was. It was basically, you need to be all in or you need to be all out. And then from that day, I just committed fully, went all in, and it's been a wild success since then. And that was probably 4 years ago.
Hey, the one story that I want you to tell people, and this is a story every time you and I tell our story, I want to pick on that a little bit. But when you were at you came in, it was awesome. But you had to make a financial decision. I mean, you were in the process. You know where I'm heading with this.
Oh, yeah.
You were in a process of getting married, you had to make a financial reason. You had limited resources. Like, welcome to the world. Who doesn't when they start on the road to success, right? Talk a little bit about that. How this was tied into your marriage and how this was tied into your finances.
Yeah, so this is April of 2016, and I'm out in Atlanta. And in order to do this, I had to make a financial commitment. And I think I had $15,000 to my name, and that was saved for our wedding. I think the financial commitment at the time was like double that. And I don't remember exactly, but it was more than I had. So I had to, I go to the hotel the night before I'm going to leave, and I call my wife and I say, Brianna, do you trust me? And she goes, and when I say something like that, she knows I'm up to something. But she knew I was onto something. I was trying to make some moves, and without her backing, I could never do this. She fully supported me. So I spent our wedding money on jumping into a partnership with Peter. Our wedding was 2 months away, and I had to, not only did I spend that, but I also still owed about 15 grand to Peter in the partner driven model. So I went from having 15 grand and now I'm 15 grand in the hole, and I got a wedding coming up and in 2 months, and I have to pay for it. So talk about back against the wall. And we ended up just scrambling. And I remember telling Julie, I said, I need this to work because I just spent my wedding money on this business. I need this to take off. It has to work. And I think later that night she may have had a conversation with Peter and said, you better make this work. But
that's
funny. There's those times in life, I call them dots, like where you make decisions that are life altering. And that was one of them. I really, if you think about it, I didn't have anything. So you got to take a shot. You got to go for things. And that was one of those times where I made a commitment with the support of my wife, and that has transformed my life forever. I mean, it's done tremendous things.
Let me ask you a question, because this is a very interesting point. I think a majority of people in that position would actually go the other way. Meaning, hey, my back against the wall. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough talent. I don't have enough history. So a lot of people use actually those reasons that you use to do this. They use those as reasons not to do this. And not just this, anything in life. Everyone has an amazing reason why they don't move forward in life. They all make sense. They're all like incredible. You're one of those few people that actually did it the opposite way. When your back was against the wall, when you have limited capital, when you had limited time, right? You said those are the reasons that I actually want to do this, and I'm going to do this. So having said that, what I'm always curious about when I talk to successful guys like you, why do you think like that? I mean, why, average person thinks totally opposite. Is it something in your background, something in your history, something that's happened to you before?
Part of it is I am uber competitive. And so I just like that next step, that next challenge, that next thing that I can prove myself and I can do it. So I like to take on challenge and risk. The other thing that I think is important is, and I remember it plain as day, I sat there and I mapped it out and I said, worst case scenario, this doesn't work, lose that money, got to put the wedding on a credit card. But I'm kind of in the same position I was in. Like, really, you still got a roof over your head. You still got food. I still got my wife. Like, my I haven't changed that much. Best case scenario, several $100,000 and on a trajectory where we're making tons and tons of money. Like, and so you weigh those odds. It's like, I'm kind of, if I screw it up, I'm almost in the same exact position. It just sounds scary in the moment. I'm not going to be homeless. I'm not going to be dying. I'm just going to be in a little bit less of a financial position, which was already shitty. So no big deal. Or massive upside. And so when you look at it like that, it's kind of a no-brainer.
No, I love it. You know, one of the things that's impressed me about you to this day, but really, especially in the beginning, is just, you know, your ability and your willingness to follow instructions. And let me give you an example here. I'll give you a real life example, things that we see a lot of times. We'll start with someone new, like a new partner, and not just new to us, but also, let's say, new to the industry. And you know, we'll lay out kind of what needs to be done, how we do it. And, you know, again, we don't come from a background of theory. We actually do this. So we know what we're doing works. And then and somebody new will come in, again, not just new to us, but new to the whole industry. And literally within the first couple of weeks, they're telling us like how to do things. Like they're telling us, you know, oh no, this doesn't work, but this works, but this is how I want to do it. And, you know, my first deal, I want it to be a $32 million deal in Beverly Hills. And, you know, there's no logic behind any of that and all that. To talk to people, the importance of being like humble enough to listen, you know, to you comes naturally, because I've never seen, like, you're the one guy I can honestly say that in the years I've known you, I can't ever remember you like, and again, it's not because we're so smart, we're just a little bit ahead of the game than you, but how important is that to kind of humble yourself and say, okay, if I'm going to be with somebody, I'm going to kind of follow their lead.
Well, I just think like it, and I don't know if this is the right answer, but like, you've done it. You've already been there. You've created a path. Why would I try to create a new way? One of the fastest ways to get somewhere is just go find someone who's done it and literally copy them to a T and take out all of the screw ups they had and don't do those because they already know them and just go forward. And I remember that plain as day. You literally would tell me, you need to be on the phone for 4 hours. And I would just like, okay. And I would just go get on the phone for 4 hours. And I would just go until I had an appointment, a deal. And it was just, you tell me to do something, I do it. Because you've done it already and you've already created a blueprint of success. Why should I go and try to guess and figure out something and take 4 times as long?
Yeah, common sense. I totally agree. Now I don't know if you're going to know the answer to this one, because I don't remember. Tell us about the first deal you and I did. Do you remember that? Because I don't know. I'm spacing on it.
This is crazy. So I actually drove by that house today for probably the first time since we sold it.
Wow.
Not intentional or anything like that. I door knocked another property. And it happened to be 2 streets over, and so I drove over there. Yeah, we got a deal. This one was from a lady who lived probably 4 hours away from us, but this house had been hoarders inside of it, and it had been, they quit paying her rent. She was 4 hours away, so pain was increasing. And I told Peter, I go, I think we've got a deal here. And at that time, he wasn't sure if I knew what I was doing. So you had made me you had contacted 2 realtors from the area and had them give an assessment of the property. You hired a home inspector to come in and take a look at the property. And I had gotten lucky. This was Roger. I found Roger on this deal, just the first deal. And, found a contractor. I had happened to find a couple of deals for him that he had fixed and flipped before, and he'd made a bunch of money on it. So he was going to help us on our first one. I think we ended up netting, I actually remember the number, $83,000 was our net on that deal.
No, boy, our first
house. Yeah, our
Dang.
first deal was a huge
I
one.
gotta shoot myself. How do I forget stuff like that? That is
I'll never forget
absolutely
that one.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you just brought something up that is another thing that we try to teach through our organization here. And that is the ability to not just like look at people for who they are, but kind of see through them for what they could be. And you brought up an important name that I'm sure no one knows about is Roger. And again, you identified him and you saw more than just a guy that you flipped a couple deals to. I mean, Roger has become absolutely instrumental in mine and your partnership. So talk about how you found him, and not just how you found him. I know you kind of found him by accident, but what in the heck even made you realize that the guy has so much upside? Because I had no idea he was introduced to us on the very first deal. I mean, he's still with us 5 years down the road. How in the world did you recognize that in Roger that early on in the business?
I don't, to be really transparent, I don't know if I did. I do think that I have a knack for kind of identifying quality people quickly. And I was impressed with when I was watching him flip his properties. He does not get emotional in the deal. And I'd kind of go over there and watch because I was trying to learn. So I'd show up every other day at his projects. He probably didn't know why I was there, but I kept popping into these things. And he wasn't putting in material that he wanted to live there. He was putting in material that would sell that quality of home. And he was very calculated on his numbers and his return. And he always kept telling me, it's all about the numbers that you buy, what you fix it for. People can get caught up trying to make this home super fancy and try to make it like they're going to live in it. And I guess I was just impressed with, I could tell he was an intellectual dude. He was willing to share with me, and he didn't know me, and he was just willing to share these things with me. So from there, I asked him if he wanted to help me with our first deal. I'd gotten him a couple deals. I think just out of generosity, he wanted to return the favor. And now it's been a phenomenal relationship for all three of us.
You know, for those of you that don't know Roger, Roger has become our contractor, and Roger in of himself could be one of these Tuesday night webinars. He's a phenomenal guy. He's a phenomenal guy. He's a phenomenal contractor. I mean, he's literally, now remember, I got a little history on most of you guys here. I got 20 some years in the business. I have never in my life had a contractor like Roger. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Seth, and I might be wrong because maybe I can't remember all the early days. But as far as I could tell, Roger has never one time asked for a draw, meaning he never has wanted to get paid as the project moves forward, which in real estate business, that's like beyond unheard of. That's the kind of stories you tell, and then you just kind of say, well, I wish I would have, I could have. And there's been times where Roger, there's no question in my mind, has carried, well, $500,000 to probably $1 million
Yeah.
on his own books. He doesn't ask for draws. He's there when he's supposed to be there. Matter of fact, I don't want this to be about Roger, but I'll tell you, Roger is so phenomenal. This is also the first time I've ever done this, that at the end of last year, Seth and Roger met me in South Beach, and we rented this unbelievable 75-foot yacht. And we literally just, sailed around South Beach for a while. And the reason I tell you that story is just in terms of mine and Seth's relationship, it's really gone beyond just a partnership, a business partnership anymore. It's a friendship. But the other thing is, I could tell you, in my life, I got a boat parked right out there. I've never had a contractor step foot on my boat here, much less flown them across the country on some kind of a yacht. But that's another piece of the puzzle when it comes to Seth and I. Seth and I both have this philosophy that we got to build a team around us. There's, at this point, there's very few things that I personally do as far as real estate investing. I like to think I still drive the ship. I still paint a picture. I still paint a vision, but overall the team is really what does that. After we've been doing this for as long as we have and achieved the successes we have, Seth, you've also built a team around you. So talk a little bit about your team there in California, and kind of how that's all laid out, how some of those people have come into your world and what they're doing.
Yeah, so for us here, I've got 4 agents, back office staff of 2, admin managers, people that run the paperwork and everything like that. We run the brokerage side business, and then we also do this flipping operation as well here. So it's really grown into a much larger thing than it was 4 years ago. I mean, it's substantially larger now, and it's going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to push. We on our retail side, residential side, we'll clear 27 million in volume last year, 103 sales. This year will probably be closer to 140 sales. So we have a nice machine there. And then my passion's on the investment side. That's where it's fun, but they work well together, and that's why we have those. One of the things Peter said that earlier, he was talking about these partnerships and these relationships. I just want to hit on a point that it's important to focus on trying to create value for people. I really, all throughout my week and my times, I try to figure out, how can I provide value to Peter? How can I provide value to Roger? How can I provide value to Julie? How can I provide value to my agents? And if you come at it from a focused standpoint of how can you provide people with value, and if you're actually valuable, they love having you in their world. And instead of a take, try to just work on giving them something that you're good at, and it'll just reciprocate tenfold.
Well, and let me give you a perfect example how well Seth does that. So a little while ago, we were in, I can't remember. I think I was in Puerto Rico, or maybe Dominican. And I still remember, and Seth and I try to talk, 3 to 4 times a week at least, if not more. And I still remember we're going on some excursion, and I'm talking on a phone with Seth, and we're just kind of going over a couple things. He knows I'm away, so we're kind of going up on some things. And then, like, in the middle of the conversation, either I reference or he references like a $20-some thousand wire that I got from him. And I'm like, and I'm, the one thing I tell people, I try to be as much hands-off as possible. Like, I don't want to get in the business ways. But one thing I'm hands-on about is like when money's coming in and money's going out. And it was like a wire that was unaccounted for that came from him. And I'm like, Seth, dude, did you wire me an extra, like whatever, 25,000 or 30,000 by accident? And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm like, well, tell me about it. So Seth is like, yeah, well, I found this property, and I knew it was a good deal, so I bought it. Now remember, part of in our partnership, part of my responsibility to the partnership is provide all the money. So Seth found this property. He then funds it all himself. He provides all the capital. And I was like, I kind of interrupted him in the middle of that conversation. I'm like, Seth, well, why don't you call my office? He goes, oh, you guys were all busy. I know you guys got a million things going on. I go, okay, well, continue. He's like, yeah. And then I sold it. And we made whatever, $50,000, and that was your half of it. And I'm like, and here, you're talking about providing value. Now think about this. He found the property. He bought it with his own money. He sold it with all of his resources, and he still kicked back 50% back to me. Guess what? Anybody like listening to this story would probably be thinking, well, I would have never known about this deal. But that's like what, part of, I think, what makes what you and I do so phenomenal, so valuable to both of us. It's just this stuff. I mean, it's just stuff that, like, I can't. And by the way, that story that I just told you about, Seth, has happened on more than one occasion. But let me tell you something, what else makes a relationship so valuable. It's not always like amazing stories we're celebrating. Just like 2 weeks ago, we closed a deal that we're into for, I think, a year, right? And I think you know which one I'm talking about. And this was a deal that when Seth found it a year ago, I remember him calling me. He's like, oh, it's a little unusual. It's not exactly what we do. We got to do like a little bit more than we usually do. And I'm like, okay, how confident are you? He's like, we'll get it done. This is a year ago. Now, understand, for those of you that understand our model, we're in a fairly quick turn model. An average deal in our world lasts 3 to 4 months. So this is a deal that started out with already unusual circumstances. We worked through it. I have 100% trust in Seth. Seth says, let's go for it. I go for it. I don't even question it. And a year, like almost to the day, we just sold this. I think there were two properties tied into one, and we made no money. I mean, like, we literally made no money. And now remember, Seth and I have done well over 100 deals together. We've made tremendous amount of money together. And here it is. We spent a year worth of time, effort, resources. This was stress on this deal. We had to get the city involved in this deal. I mean, this drained, not drained me like physically, personally, but I know drained a lot of my staff because they had to go above and beyond just to show zero. And the reason I like to share that story is that's real estate. So many people, I think, Seth, make a mistake in this business. They think it's all just roses and flamingos, and all we do is, just easy street. And so an average person, when they don't have successes up front, they just simply give up. They give up because, well, it doesn't work. I'm with the wrong partnership. I'm in the wrong market, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what, guys? You're always going to have challenges. And the one thing, Seth, I really appreciate about you, heck, we're in the middle of a challenge right now, aren't we? With some of the direct mail people we're doing. And the one thing, there are partners, there's people in my lives that when we go through challenges, I'm like literally almost don't want to take their calls because I know it's going to be like a bitch session. Like this stinks. Seth and I are literally in the middle of a challenge right now with some of the marketing we're doing. But every time we talk about it, and Seth calls, I always know it's going to be a good call because we're going to continue working through those challenges, until we fix them. So Seth, like from your perspective, obviously you've never run away from challenges. Like how do you look at challenges? Like everyday challenges that happen like every day in this business?
Well, we're in one right now that's been frustrating. And so one of the things that I think we've done actually with this is we've had a direct mail issue that's screwed up our lead flow and stuff like that, and it's been extremely frustrating. But we've actually we're now communicating daily, figuring this out and holding higher accountability level calls until we figure out the issue. So instead of being upset, we're raising our accountability and we're looking for ways to fix the problem so then we can get back on track and going again. So that's kind of the key is when we figured out the issue, we just raised our level of accountability and started talking to each other more, but in a productive way. Because what are you going to do? You can bitch and moan about what happened in the past, or you can just fix it and move on and learn from it and grow.
Yeah. What I always say as it relates to that, it's how you interpret something, right? Some people interpret something going wrong or a challenge as a reason to stop, right? Like I've hit a dead end right here, so I'm out. And the reason I love working with you, Seth, is you never interpret a challenge as a reason to quit or stop or not move forward. That's just, what happens in the everyday way of doing things. The interesting thing about this challenge that Seth and I are talking about that we're experiencing right now, it is tied into marketing. It is tied into direct mail. But I always tell people there's like two ways you could really screw things up. One, when you just don't know what you're doing, like when things are just going bad and you're like maybe beginner and you really like when I started 22 years ago, I just didn't know what I was doing and I was screwing things up. The other way things can get screwed up is when things are going so well, sometimes you lose like a little focus, you lose attention to detail. And this challenge actually came as a result of the second one. Things were going so well in what we were doing. We made a very, very basic mistake that so many people that start experiencing success make. We kind of got out of the basics a little bit. We were kind of so at this level, forgot that to get to this level, we had a bunch of people at this level to make everything work. And we just lost track of some of this stuff. So, and that's what we're done. We were regrouping, we're working through it. I'm not at all even a bit worried about our ability to work through it. And the other thing that I love about, the way you handle things, Seth, I kind of always have this attitude, well, not always, but try to have an attitude that, like, if there's a challenge, like, that's a chance to improve. That's like a chance to improve. And you and I are constantly, every time we talk about this, it's like, hey, that's like, wow, you mean we were doing so good and we were like screwing things up here a little bit, but that's actually a good thing. So, talk from a perspective, Seth, like, bring yourself back a number of years, right? There's some people watching us tonight. There's people are going to be watching this in a recorded capacity, and they're kind of in your shoes. Their back is against the wall. Might have nothing to do with their marriage. It might nothing to do with, it might be 20,000 other issues going on. But the bottom line is they're not where they want to be, okay? And talk to that person that's like thinking, I want to go for it, but I'm afraid to go for it. I'm afraid because I don't want to lose. I'm afraid because my husband or wife tells me this isn't the right thing. I'm afraid because we're in the middle of a virus and so nothing is working. I'm afraid because I've never been successful. I think the biggest thing I see people, what holds them back, especially initial, it's fear. It boils down to fear. Talk to that individual that's listening and they're just scared. They're just flat out scared to go for it.
So everybody goes through life and you have these behaviors, and really everybody's extremely repetitious in their life, and they just continue to complete the same behaviors over and over and over again, and they don't change. And there are times in your life where you have the ability to change a behavior or change something or change a fear. And right now, you could be in that moment where you need to change. And unfortunately, the reality of the situation is there are some people listening to this right now who will not change that behavior, and they will continue on that same path, and they will live an unfulfilled life. And I hate to say that, and I hope that is not true for most of you. But what happens is you have to do something different, or else nothing changes. If you just keep going down the same path, it's going to continue the same exact way. And so if you've got a life that's not fulfilled and you're not living to the potential you want, you've got to change something. It's not just going to magically alter. So you have an opportunity to move in a different direction with a wildly successful man and his team and everything Peter's built. Take that shot, because what's the worst that can happen? Really? Like, if you're sitting in a situation where you're unhappy in your marriage and your wife is not satisfied with what you're doing at work, well, guess what? If you don't make a change, they might make a change that you don't want to see. So the worst that could happen is you come back to where you are and you took a shot at something and you screwed up. But if you don't take a shot, you have a 0% chance at change. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, Seth. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If what you're doing is getting you what you got and you don't like what you got, you better change what you're doing, right? I mean, it's like just very basic, common sense 101. Well, anyway, Seth, listen, I have immensely enjoyed this. I totally 100%. Just love the opportunity to work with you, to partner with you, to do deals. There's a lot of things that I've learned from you, even though I have a couple of years on you. Like age-wise, I probably have like 60 years on you. But you really are an inspiration. I talk about you a lot. There's a lot of people in our organization that follow you already, whether it's through social media or just literally a lot of people, and I talk to them, just ask about Seth and all this. So you're an awesome dude. You're an inspiration. But guys, this is what our partnering program, this is what it means to be part of the family. I mean, it's about relationships. It's about doing deals, and it's about going through challenges and going through successes, but it's about relationships. And ultimately, I will tell you, our relationships is really what makes this thing go around. It's what makes it worth it for me. It's what makes it worth for our staff. When we refer to our partners, they're not numbers. They're not that person. They're not that guy. They're not that girl. They're real life people. Everybody in our organization calls every single partner by their first name. And it's phenomenal. We're literally, truly, and I literally just literally started saying this very recently when our new partners started. I just say, welcome to the family. I say, welcome to the family. We grow with our partners. We experience the successes. We work through challenges. We've seen some very, very amazing things happen. So having said that, I'll also tell you, we're looking for more partners. So if what Seth said today resonates, makes sense, we'd love for you to join the family at www.partnerdriven.com. There you could find out a bunch more information on all this. But Seth, I'm going to give you the chance to say kind of the last parting words. You've said some amazing things tonight. You're an amazing dude. So even though I usually close things off, tonight you close it off.
Thank you again for having me. I will do this anytime. I am grateful for the opportunities that you have given me. Your team is my family. I was on the phone with some of your people this week, and I was talking with them about vacations they've went on, family trips and things. They really are a part of my world. And I'm grateful for the opportunities you guys have given to me and my family. And you guys, there's an opportunity in front of you right now. You need to take hold. I say that genuinely. This man is unlike any other, and he has an excellent, excellent system that if you just listen and believe and work, you will have success. So I highly recommend you guys to connect with Peter and his team. I'm happy to talk with anybody if anybody needs some help. Thank you again for having me. I'll talk to you guys later.
Awesome. Over and out, Seth. You're the man. All right, man. I'm sure we'll talk tomorrow. See ya.
Yeah.